the tone that we did on the piano and for the way the piano felt as far as the performing end of the piano. He complimented us on the interior work of the piano, and he was very concerned that the exterior of the piano did not look the way he imagined it should. And I asked him at that time whether he imagined that the piano was going to be refinished, and he just simply didn't understand the difference between the term polishing and refinishing. Now, when the piano came to us, the piano was a complete wreck. The piano has numerous dents, scratches, discoloration. The piano had water damages on the top. The legs of the piano, particularly the skirts of the piano, were all banged up. They were cracked to the point where we had to replace all 6 of these skirts and make them completely new. This is considered carving work, and if we were to charge a retail client for this type of work, we would have charged our usual $80 an hour fee for carving. That by itself, we spent 40 hours doing the skirts for the legs and doing some other moldings on the piano that were missing. That bill would come to approximately $3,000 by itself. Mr. Strasser did not have any understanding for either the difference between polishing, refinishing. He took one look at the piano and he dismissed it. He said the piano looks terrible. He's not going to be able to sell the piano, etc. and so forth. And I asked him simply that he should call Maximilian Pianos and explain to him and what he just told me, because we would be very glad to refinish the piano for him. Nothing was lost. We haven't charged him a fortune for polishing the piano. It was just a superficial polishing for which we charged $300. We spent a little bit of time just polishing the case of the piano, and most of the expense went into the replacement of molding and the leg skirts. Mr. Strasser left and told us he will let us know and he will send a check. Within a week we will have the check. When I haven't received the check, in early December. On December 8th, I decided to send a notice which said that unless we receive the check within 3 weeks until the end of the year, I should consider the piano in storage, and I will be imposing a storage charge of $85 a month for storing such a large piano on my premises. On January 4th, I believe, I was out. My associate, Dmitry Mihov, who is the production manager, had received a very nasty phone call from Mr. Strasser, in which Mr. Strasser said just nasty, one-sided opinions regarding the refinishing of the piano, how disappointed he was with it, and how he is not going to tolerate it, and how much stress and anxiety that brought to him. I felt that when I learned about it, I felt that perhaps Mr. Strasser is planning a lawsuit regarding this, and this is the purpose for this video. Now I am going to read the letter from Mr. Strasser, which is addressed to me, Leopold Holder, on January 8th, in which Mr. Strasser says, "Dear Mr. Holder, enclosed please find a check for $3,175, the balance on my Canabi grant $46,651. I am sending the check with great reservations." And on the check, he even puts the fact that the check is under protest. "I found the work on my piano, especially the case, to be of low quality. The case looked worse after you worked on it. Any attempt to convince me that a good job was done is impossible. I am instructing Max Rutten to have the piano removed from your shop to another location where the proper refinishing of my piano will take place. All this has taken 9 months. You had all summer to do this job, and it dragged on to end with such unacceptable results. It is now going to cost me additional monies to put the instrument into sellable condition, not to mention the terrible stress and aggravation. I can assure you that I will never recommend you to anyone that I know, and I will warn people of the type of work my piano received there. Sir, you have made a great error in judgment when you allow this type of work to pass for quality work. If you had done a fine workmanlike job, I would have been glad to recommend your shop to my numerous friends and contacts in the music business. Now that is out of question. Sincerely, Jonathan Strasser. Now this letter is a very hurtful letter, which I have never received like of such letter in 17 years that I have been in business, and it's very distressing to me. The letter stems from the misunderstanding of the work. At this point, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go over the list of work that was given to us by Maximilian to perform on this Kanabi piano. And later, when I'm finished with that, I'd like to introduce to you, for the record, 3 persons. One, Dmitry Mihov, who's the production manager here at the New York Piano Center, and he's going to go over the work that was performed on this piano. And later I'm going to introduce Mr. Kent Rain, who is a very well-known piano technician in New York, and he's going to evaluate the work on this piano, as well as Mr. Bernard Kritzman, who is also a very well-known piano technician in New York City, and he's going to also independently examine the performance on this instrument. Now, so the first thing that was given to us was the replacement of tuning pins and strings, as well as the restoration of the sounding board. You can see here the brand new bass strings and the brand new wire for the treble strings, as well as the new nickel-plated tuning pins. And the soundboard was completely restored, and the plate was rebronzed flawlessly. There is not there's not one defect on it. The soundboard is gorgeous. It's a Sitka spruce soundboard with our restoration work on it. The pin block is holding the torque of the tuning pins, the strings, the plate. We had exchanged the damper felts. They are brand new damper felts. They have all been replaced. The dampers were all resprayed in black lacquer and regulated with the action. And now for the action. So now we're going to take the action out of the piano. And here we have a beautifully regulated action with replaced repetition, replaced shanks, knuckles, new hammers. The repetitions were original in the piano, however the shanks and the hammers were replaced. Beautifully regulated by our regulator voicer and voiced. Of course, the piano was tuned to A440, work which even haven't been specified on the worksheet because it was obvious that for voicing purposes we would tune the piano. If this was a retail work,